G'day there guys, relatively large forehead here, back at it again with another episode of r/Am I the A-hole. Now if you love today's content, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and enjoy the video. Posted by user FamilyPortrait64949, titled, Am I the A-hole for not including my daughter's boyfriend in my family portrait? Context. Every year, I like to get a portrait taken of my family in the summer and then hang them above my stairs since I love looking at them as I walk up and down the stairs. Looking at them really is the best part of my day, lol. I told my kids, I have 4, that even when they're adults, I would like them, with their kids and spouses, to take the photo with me. But I have always the rule that boyfriends and girlfriends don't count as family, so they can't be in the portrait. Conflict. My daughter, Paige 24, has a 5-year-old son with a man who she has been on and off with. They have been solidly together for the past 2 years. So I was texting with my family about when we can take the picture and get our families together. This spurred Paige to ask me, she and her son live with me, if this year, if we could include her boyfriend in the picture because he feels left out since she and their son are in the pictures, but he's never been invited. I told her no because I don't want non-married partners in it since they're not family. This is when she got nasty with me and said that wasn't fair to her and her partner because they don't believe in marriage. So he'll always be discluded and that I just have this arbitrary rule because I don't like them. This may be where I become the a-hole, because at this point I got nasty with her back and said along the lines of, I had that rule to prevent her bringing a different guy every year into the photo. Paige has always been, well, promiscuous, so to speak. This caused her to storm off and is now refusing to take the photo at all with her son. This really grinds my gears because I let her and her son, my grandchild, live in my house rent-free and she can't even do this one fudging thing for me without ruining it. I just want to add that my other kids didn't include their partners into the photo until marriage, so it's not just for her. Am I the a-hole? Edit. I just want to add that while my husband agrees with me, my other kids think I should include Paige's boyfriend. Yeah, I think everyone sucks here in this one. I think she's being a hard shtick, not following the rule that's always been set, and you're being a dick about this to her. Calling your daughter promiscuous and openly admitting to that is kind of a really bad thing to do as a mother. It sounds like she's having a hard life, and you're not treating her fairly. This man's been on and off for 5 years and they're solid for 2 years. I feel like you should at least give them a chance, OP. Everyone sucks here. If he were her life partner and they lived together and didn't believe in marriage, that would be one thing. If they were building a life together on their own, I'd say you would be the a-hole. Married or not, they'd be their own family. You are the a-hole for shaming your daughter for the number of partners she's had. That's her business and is not a reflection of who she is as a person. That number isn't indicative of her worth or value. He is the father of her child, and they've been dating steadily for over 2 years. If it's such a big deal, they could do 2 sets of pictures. One with the daughter's partner, and one without him, but something that tells me that that'll never happen because this wasn't about a picture at all, and was just OP attempting to have control over her daughter and daughter's boyfriend. Is it just me, or is OP acting like they're the British royal family? Kate and Meghan were not allowed to attend family events until they were engaged. It is hilarious. I don't think she's shaming her. I saw it as OP didn't want their daughter's different partners in her permanent photos she's obviously displaying in her home, since it's probably awkward when they break up and new boyfriend and fam, or in this case the baby daddy, sees the photos of exes. Not the a-hole. So she lives rent-free with you and the kid. She doesn't live with the boyfriend who is solidly in their life and who doesn't believe in the institution of marriage. I don't have a problem with that part, just the whole, we're like a married couple, except they're not. Don't spouses/life partners generally live together, especially when there are children involved? I am sure that I'll get downvoted because people on this subreddit love to say that blood doesn't make someone family, but then also gets up in arms when someone else tries to give an opinion on their own quote-unquote family situation. I think if it wasn't on and off, then it would be more understandable. but it doesn't sound like a stable relationship, and photoshopping baby daddies out of nice pictures is a pain. It's the on and off that has me leaning more towards not the a-hole. It doesn't sound like they're rock solid, and they aren't even living with one another. Daughter and grandson live with OP. If he were a steady boyfriend for 5 years, or live-in boyfriend, it would be a different judgment. Everyone sucks here. You didn't have to be nasty and tramp shame your daughter. That was so rude of you. She, however, shouldn't throw a fit over a rule your other kids followed. She shouldn't want to be treated differently. My thing is that OP and her baby daddy are an on and off couple. I can see why she's cautious with putting him in the picture. Posted by user Shoppingable, titled, "Am I the a-hole for forcing my girlfriend to take a shower before bed each night?" I know this isn't the practice for all people or couples, but I think it is good hygiene. This is even more true during summer when people sweat more and have more body oil. In the past, when she would spend the night, I never said anything, but now that we're living together and sharing a bed each night, I told her that she can't come home and crawl into bed without taking a shower. She has to take a shower unless she is sick or there's a good reason why. She has taken this the wrong way and is viewing this as me telling her she is dirty, but it's not unique to her. I do this myself because I also would be gross if I didn't shower before bed. I don't think she's gross at all, and I think she actually would feel better and more relaxed if she took a pre-bed shower. I do. She thinks I'm being too rigid about this, but to me, this is all common sense and shouldn't be a controversial request. Am I the a-hole? Well, yeah, purely on the fact that you're trying to control her life, absolutely. This is a pretty ridiculous request to put on someone like that. It feels like you're more of a germaphobe than anything, and this might be something you need to look into. Not everyone has the time and patience to have a shower every time they go to bed, and it's ridiculous to make that request. Obviously, the way she's reacting should tell you that it's not a normal thing to continually request and berate someone for if they don't do. And because of that, you're the a-hole OP. You have no right to force her to shower at a specific time. For some people, it's normal to shower every other day, with the exception of like sweating and crap. Who are you to tell her that she needs a good excuse to not follow your rules? You aren't her parent, you're her partner. Stop trying to treat her like a child, it's a bit controlling. I hate showering at night. My hair takes forever to dry and I don't like blow dryers. So I either take it early enough to dry or go to bed with it wet. And either way I do it, my hair looks like crap the next day from sleeping on it. So I always shower in the morning so my hair looks nice. OP, you're the a-hole. Not trying to poop on your parade or anything, but it's not recommended you wash your hair every day anyway. I put mine up when I shower so it stays dry and wash it when it's needed. Every 4 to 5 days is good for me, and I've got greasy hair. I just trained my scalp to not produce so much sebum by not washing it as often, and ensuring the yuck factor for a couple wash cycles before it's got the memo. You can shower without having to wash your hair. For me, just getting it wet helps it look better, otherwise it looks unevenly flat. For me, getting it wet without washing it makes it look worse, but I also refuse to wash my hair every day. Either I shower every other day-ish, or I take a daily bath, especially in hot months, and clip my arse-long hair up so that it doesn't have to touch the water unless it's a hair wash day. Taking care of long hair is extremely time-consuming and requires a lot of product, research, and pre-bed routine. I've worked in kitchens where my hair got extra gross and required more washing than I would prefer. That requires a lot of strategy, special shampoos, conditioners, and air drying time. Some dude telling me how and when to wash my hair would have been immediately dumped. I didn't do all of this research into the best way to maintain my ass-long mane just for some uninformed dude to tell me the best way to handle it. You're the a-hole. I would say most people don't shower before bed every night, especially if they're showering every day in the morning. Just because you like to do that doesn't mean you should force your girlfriend to follow that. It's not your choice. I mean, even though I find this over the top by my own hygiene standards, it is also their choice whether they want to share a bed with someone who hasn't showered. I think the way they expressed it could have been better. They shouldn't have told her what she can and can't do. They could have said that they couldn't share a bed with her if she hadn't showered, and maybe suggested a backup plan like separate beds for the time that she doesn't want to. However, their partner's issues seem to be with them thinking she is dirty, which would be the same regardless of how they had expressed their choice to not want to share a bed with her under those circumstances. Posted by user Throwaway123654, titled, "Am I the a-hole for not comforting my child during an emotional breakdown?" My wife recently passed away about a month ago. We have 2 kids, Jacob, male 20, and Felicia, female 18. My daughter is very introverted, whilst my son is more extroverted, like myself and my wife. I didn't have a close bond with my daughter, and was a lot closer to my son, whilst my wife was closer to my daughter. My daughter was more academically driven and spent her time staying at home and studying most nights. She's also very independent and deals with things on her own, so when her mum passed away, I wasn't sure how to handle her, and I didn't know if she wanted comfort or she was okay on her own. When her mother passed away, she didn't show anything openly. She became more reserved and didn't speak much. My parents came down to offer their condolences, and my daughter, who doesn't like them very much, had to be forced to sit down at the dinner table. My mother and father were telling me about some females they think that I should consider dating. My daughter said that my wife just died not too long ago, and they were already thinking of making me date. My dad told me that she wouldn't understand, and that she should not butt into a conversation that wasn't about her. She said that it was rude and inconsiderate, considering that all of us were still grieving the loss of someone significant to all of us. My mother then made a comment, saying that she didn't cry at the funeral, and therefore she wasn't significant enough to her. Long story short, my daughter screamed at her, saying that just because she didn't cry, it didn't mean she didn't feel any pain. Then she cried herself to sleep every night, and would wait near the front door just waiting for her mum to come back home, and realized she wouldn't. She looked at me and said that she knows how I see her as some emotionless robot, and had only shown Jacob comfort. She was a sobbing mess, and I honestly didn't know how to react. She hadn't shown that much emotion in front of people before. My son decided to take her out and away from the situation, and he texted me saying that I should have intervened and shown her some comfort, as that's what she needed. I told him that she was very independent and dealt with things by herself, and he argued that she was still a teenager and that she had emotions too. So, am I the a-hole? I honestly don't know how to handle this. Edit, I also think people have forgotten that I became a widow, that I lost the love of my life. I'm also in grieving, and I know that I need to look after my children. Well, if you know that you need to look after your children, then why aren't you? Why are you neglecting one? Your assumption has hurt your daughter. Just because you're hurting as much, if not more than her by your own standards or your own thoughts here, doesn't mean that she doesn't need help, and you haven't been giving her help. You're the a-hole for neglecting her. That's terrible parenting, and OP, you need to take a good hard look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself what you're doing. Smutty McBookworm says, "Oh, you're the a-hole alright, among other things. Also, your daughter is right. Your parents are rude and inconsiderate, and that's saying it lightly. Why on earth would you invite your parents to dinner with your grieving son and daughter, knowing they didn't like your wife and don't like your daughter? You're the a-hole." For real though, I don't think OP likes his daughter either. Him and his parents have a pretty sexist vibe to them. I hope her maternal grandparents are around, so she has some sort of adult support in her life. You're the a-hole. Holy hell. Her mum died and your parents are trying to marry you off again mere weeks later, but you don't get that your daughter is grieving and outraged. Just because she doesn't grieve the way you do, or expect her to, doesn't mean she doesn't grieve. She absolutely 100% deserved your understanding and comfort, and, for the record, your parents are awful, and so are you for not calling them out at the time. Look at OP's comments. He has been putting his parents before his daughter since she was small. He says, "My parents didn't like my wife or my daughter because she was too outspoken and didn't conform to some of their traditions. because my son conforms to traditional things whilst my daughter is more outspoken against it. When she was little, she had speech issues and had to go to therapy for it. My mum said that she was stupid and wouldn't amount to much. My daughter told her that she'd prove her wrong. My parents think she's too headstrong and not as respectful of our culture like the rest of their grandkids. Opie is the a-hole. Yeah, he lost his wife and you have to grieve. But to just openly let your parents treat your daughter like that and argue they're her elders and deserve respect is a load of you-know-what, amongst several other things. Opie, you are a parent. Your kid should come before whatever misogynistic views and opinions your parents have about your daughter. Obviously, your wife did right by your son for him to comfort his sister and stick up for her, because you obviously won't. Edit, Opie, it's time for you to grow the hell up. Of course, the boys don't mind conforming to traditions. Almost all traditions benefit men and would have women be submissive and quiet. Exactly. I wish OP would expand on what traditional things are, because I wouldn't be surprised if they're misogynistic and backwards. I would guess traditional things like men not being expected to do anything around the house because they are providers. Also, needing a maid and nanny they can have sex with because of their male nature. Hopefully obvious sarcasm. Posted by user Throwaway57725. Titled, Am I the a-hole for getting angry at my sister because she refused to share a bed with my girlfriend? My 28 male parents own a beach house. We stayed there for a couple of days to celebrate the 4th of July. The house has 2 bedrooms. My parents stayed in one, and the other room was for me, my girlfriend of 1 year, 32 female, my brother, 34 male, and my little sister, 23 female. The room has 2 double beds. After dinner, I took a walk with my girlfriend. When we got back to the room, my brother and sister were on one bed. He was sleeping and she was playing on her Switch. I asked her nicely if she could stay on the other bed beside my girlfriend so I could stay beside my brother. She said no. We grew up in a Catholic family. This means no sex before marriage, and I would rather not sleep on the same bed as my girlfriend to avoid temptation. So I was hoping my sister would understand. I tried to explain to her, but she got progressively more annoyed. She was so noisy that she woke up my brother, who asked what the problem was. I explained it to him, but he sided with my sister. My brother said that I have 2 choices. 1, I could suck it up and sleep beside my girlfriend, which might lead to something more happening, or 2, I could sleep on the couch. I was hurt that they couldn't understand where I was coming from, but ended up sleeping on the couch. The next day, my girlfriend told me that she was sad that it seemed like my sister didn't like her. My sister didn't talk to my girlfriend the whole night. She only talked to our brother. I confronted my sister about this, and she told me to F off. This made me angry because I was just trying to have a conversation with her. I tried telling her she needs to be more respectful, and she stormed off. Now she, my brother, and even my mum are angry at me. Am I the a-hole? Again, it's another situation where, are you reading the room right, OP? Are you seeing people's reactions to you? Is your dedication to your faith overwhelming your relationships with the rest of your family? Because that appears to be the case here, and I think it's a very unhealthy, hill to die on here. You're the a-hole for continuing to press the issue and not see it from their side, and not see that it's just a normal thing to sleep with your girlfriend. I don't even know if this is a question of if you can trust your girlfriend or yourself to bait off these temptations that you supposedly have. But whatever floats your boat, OP. If you want people to cut you out of their lives because you won't stop this madness, then so be it, and you're the a-hole. The 2 beds were in the same room? Are you suggesting that the temptation to have sex with your girlfriend is so real that you would have done it in front of your siblings? I get removing yourself from temptation, but this makes it seem like you completely lack self-control. OP, if even a user by the name of Rock Pervert judges your lack of control over sexual urges, you know you effed up. Hey, no kink shaming. It's not a kink to lack the self-control to not have sex in front of people who don't consent to being there while you have sex. Pretty sure they're talking about the rock pervert, but I'll let it slide. You're the a-hole. If you're in your 30s and can't control temptation, there's something wrong with you. And don't try to bring your religion into this. People can control themselves without using religion as an excuse. Oh my god, I didn't clock the ages. Assumed they were all 16 to 18 years old. He is. The rest are in their 20s. Yeah, I'm 30, and this whole carried away by hormones thing is a maturity issue. I do sex stuff when I want to do sex stuff, and I don't when I don't. If you can't learn to have better control of your mind and body by that age, that's your problem, not your siblings and their sleeping arrangements. Opie, I'm religious too, so this is real advice that considers the importance of your beliefs. At your age, you should have more strength of will than it sounds like you do. This wet tissue paper everyone else needs to change to accommodate me level of willpower doesn't show moral or spiritual maturity. Control yourself, you're a grown-ass man. I am sexually active, but I'm not here to judge your principles. But if you compromise so easily on those principles in the face of temptation, they aren't really your principles. And it isn't on others to carry your principles for you when you aren't even willing to sleep on the couch if necessary. Right? I'm religious too and sexually active. Or would be if I had someone to be sexually active with at the moment, lol. Oh, relatable. But if you truly can't control yourselves with your siblings in the room, you need to take a long look at yourself and your self-control issues. If premarital sex is that heinous to you, you shouldn't be so easily shaken by sleeping next to your girlfriend again with your siblings in the room. Maybe I'm projecting, but having grown up in a purity culture religion, this is what happens when you put all the responsibility on women to keep from tempting you, and paint men as pathetic sexual deviants who can't control their dicks. Posted by user Stu Am I the A-hole, titled, Am I the a-hole for telling a woman that her husband is probably a porn addict after she told me to move because I was distracting him? So I often go to the local park to study and read a book, etc. There is this apartment complex near the park, and people living there have a direct view of the park. Yesterday, I was chillin' when this woman who lives in the apartment came up to me. She asked me if I could move to another spot. I asked her why, and she said that I was distracting her husband. I was confused, and at first didn't even understand what she meant by that. She was super vague, but clarified that her husband does what men do, and that I should go somewhere else. So at this point, I was pretty disgusted. I replied that I wouldn't move, and put my headphones on again. She got very irritated, and said that I should respect other people's wishes and do the right thing. Then she said that I come to the park too often, and that I should consider other people's marriage. Apparently, she discussed this with other women in the apartment, and they agreed with her. I told her that I don't care about anybody's marriage, and that her husband is probably a porn addict if he can't handle the sight of a female stranger in public. Well, that clearly ticked her off because she was seething with anger. She said that her husband doesn't watch porn and called me a sick, twisted little girl for even suggesting that. Aww. I told her that she was making me really uncomfortable, but she was still attacking me over the porn addict comment. She kept repeating that he doesn't watch porn and that he's not interested in me and not to flatter myself. Afterwards, she left, but not before telling me that I will face consequences sooner or later. I told my friend about it, and she thinks I'm an a-hole for accusing the woman's husband of being a porn addict. She said that it was very disrespectful, and that she understands why the woman got so upset. And she added that I shouldn't upset a crazy person since I can't predict what she might do. Am I the a-hole here? Edit, I wasn't naked. I don't think you're an a-hole, I think you're standing up for yourself, and that woman is very out of line with her comments there. Is this another case of the guy has got to learn how to control himself, much like this Christian man's before us? Does the wife not trust him? What's going on in that relationship? Why is she acting out so crazily? And also, OP, probably best not to piss off crazy people. It is hilarious, but if you want to get your ass beat by some crazy Karen, probably not always the best idea. But I still don't think you're the a-hole for doing that. One of these things is not like the others. Not the a-hole. It is absolutely bizarre for her to demand strangers stop using public space. Either she is completely jealous and possessive, or he is trash and acts appallingly to her and has conditioned her to think that it's normal. But either way, that's not your problem. The husband is masturbating to women who are across the street in a public park, and the wife is mad at the women who don't even know what's going on. Am I getting this right? I'm really confused why this woman told a complete stranger to please move because her husband is literally sitting at his window and masturbates to her, but suggesting he's a porn addict is sick. No, he would never watch porn, how dare you? He gets off to strangers in the park like a normal person. Oh god. It's pretty simple. It has to be the woman's fault. Because if it isn't, that means her husband is at fault, lusting and jerking off at other women, and not hiding it from his wife. And of course, her husband wouldn't do something like that, because that would be disgusting. So obviously, it's the devil and that other woman who are causing him to do it. Not the a-hole. It's not your job to cater to creepy men and their insecure wives. Also, she's actually more offended at the idea that her husband would ever watch porn than the idea that her husband watches strange women in parks enough for it to be a distraction. Also, your friend sucks. Friend is the third biggest a-hole in the story. I don't know. Friend sounded concerned for her safety. The porn comments, while well-deserved, definitely didn't de-escalate a situation with an obviously unstable person. I wouldn't call OP an a-hole because of it, but if it were my friend or someone I loved, I'd also advise them not to poke the bear. I'm also not saying this as if I would have de-escalated the situation myself. I'd probably have done something similar. But lately, I feel like with cases like this or road rage, it's more likely in my best interest to just not engage with the crazy. It's hard, but everything is so charged and violent right now. I've got to agree with that, it is. Not the a-hole, but here's some advice if it happens again. Freak out big time. What? Your husband is spying on me? Is he a stalker? How often has this been going on? Which apartment do you live in? I need to know for when I file a police report. Oh my god, I'm so freaked out right now. I've never been stalked before. Does he have a history of this? Does he stare at me every time I come to this park? Is he dangerous? I better get a restraining order. Is he a registered sex offender? Oh my god, I feel so gross right now. Can I get your name and address for my police report? Just fake hyperventilate, more like, oh my god, oh my god. Did I do it? Did I play the part right? Bonus points if you attract everyone's attention and start loudly warning all the women and children in the park, this woman's sex pest husband is watching us all. Not the a-hole. Hide your kids, hide your wife, hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your sex pest husband, 'cause he's staring at everyone in the park. Posted by user Puzzle-Headed Term 504, titled, Am I the a-hole for making my daughter listen to me talk to her husband and apologize for raising a cheater like her? My daughter recently moved back in with us after her relationship with her husband ended following his discovery of an affair she was having with a coworker. Her husband is a good man, and I will be sorry to see him leaving our family. He did not deserve this. She admits as much, but I wanted him to know how sorry I was that things ended this way. I have been very hard on my daughter since she moved in. As much as she claims to recognize her mistakes, I don't believe her. She is in shock right now because she got caught and lost both men, but she hasn't learned her lesson. When I called her husband to apologize, I told her she was going to listen to the conversation because she needed to see the damage she had caused by her selfishness. I also wanted her to know how disgusted I was with her and how deeply ashamed I am of her and of her being my daughter. I told her husband that if given the choice, I would rather keep someone like him in our family than my own daughter because of her behavior. All of this had the effect I intended, But her mother thinks I was unnecessarily harsh with her and may do damage to our relationship. You think? I told her mother that right now I was considering disowning her unless she showed some remorse and changed quickly. She needs tough love right now and consequences in my view. I don't think trying to accomplish either of those things makes me an a-hole. But does it? This is a tricky one. I think it really depends on your specific family dynamic that's going on. If it was me personally, I don't think this is enough to destroy your relationship with a child like that. Yes, cheating is bad, it should be punished, she deserves to be punished. But I personally don't think it's worthy of completely disowning her unless she shows a little remorse. People make mistakes, we give them time to get over that, and show if they are worthy of coming back into the family structure. If they do show the remorse and they want to change. The daughter hasn't murdered someone, she has not taken another person's life, and we're not seeing the daughter's perspective in this, we're just seeing one particularly jaded and angry person's perspective. So I'm willing to believe that we're just seeing this out of an emotional response, and I think that OP is the a-hole for being so tough on their daughter, but I do understand where it's coming from. You're the a-hole. Your daughter is an adult. You don't get to punish her for how she behaved in her marriage. I agree she's an adult and she can do whatever she wants, but she's also a cheater and is living in OP's house. I think he's an a-hole and is doing everything wrong, and I'm sure his relationship with his daughter will be broken forever. But I can't stop thinking that she deserved it. I have no empathy for a cheater. I don't see it as a father punishing her daughter, but instead, I see it as consequences from her actions. Same, she deserved it. Cheaters get no sympathy from me. She would deserve it from her ex, who was actually wronged, not from her own parent, who is in no way morally wronged by the situation. Cheater or not, that's OP's kid, not their partner. They are not the one who doles out punishment. If they have to be involved, then a parent should be teaching. This behavior right here teaches nothing, and planning to disown their child over them cheating? OP is definitely the a-hole, and how about someone throw it in their face that maybe their parenting needed to be better to prevent this behavior in the first place? You don't get to have it two ways. Either daughter is responsible for their own behavior, in which OP has no right to be punishing for it, or if OP needs to parent the situation as a lesson, then they have to own up that obviously any previous parenting on this failed. Nah. Dude is disgusted by this person who he thought was his daughter, and has every right to be. Her behavior was reprehensible. Plenty of kids cut off their parents for cheating on their other parents. I honestly don't see a difference in this scenario. No, there is a huge difference here. A parent cheating on the other affects the kids directly. That's the main difference, which if you actually read the post, wouldn't be hard to grasp. Your parent is not affected in any way beyond their opinion of it when you cheat on your spouse. But when a parent cheats, their kid's entire world is affected. They have to see the two people who brought them into the world at their ugliest, most painful moments, and their world is literally torn apart with divorce, visitation schedules. Depending on age, they may have to walk into a courtroom to have a lawyer make them tell which parent they want to live with, and both parents will obviously be trying to have the child see them in a better light, and make them see the other one in a worse one. There is tons of studies on how divorce and infidelity harms the kids of those relationships. Parents face no repercussion beyond maybe their child asks to stay with them, and they have to have their own feelings/opinions about the situation. OP could have just said, "No, we can't let you stay here because I don't approve of this behavior." Instead, OP said, "Yes, move in and allow me to just pile on the shame and harassment as though you murdered my dog, instead of just made a mistake in your own relationship." Cheating resulting in a divorce and a breakdown of the family, not just the immediate family. We don't live in a bubble. What you do affects people around you, not just your immediate family. Everyone sucks here, her for cheating, and you for trying to control and discipline an adult child in the hope that she learned her lesson. It's all fine trying to mend everything and let her ex-husband know that you love him and consider him a part of the family still, etc., etc. But to call him and make your daughter listen reeks of forced control and manipulation. You can support your ex-son-in-law and also not support your daughter without any skin off my judging back. But the way you did it is really, really gross. I honestly have no sympathy for cheaters because I have no clue what can possibly go through their minds to justify those actions. But gross does describe what OP did. He could have said all that "I'd rather he be in my family than you" directly to his daughter, and I still wouldn't think he's an a-hole if he's trying to disown her. But say it in a call to the ex and have her listen to it is a little gross. Yeah, it did the job, but at least keep some un-assholeness for yourself. Everyone sucks here, but at least it worked out, I guess. Not the a-hole. This site wants the entire world to permanently be some kind of non-judgmental preschool where people are allowed to make mistakes no matter how old they are. Additionally, you continually see advice where it's okay to cut off abusive siblings or parents or cheating partners. People get congratulations for it. But a parent is supposed to be some type of mix between Buddha, Santa, and Jesus. You're never supposed to be disapproving, angry, or disgusted with the kid, no matter what they do, and just suck it up. What you did was harsh, no doubt, but what she did is beyond wrong. Good luck. This is a strawman fallacy. The point is that it wasn't his call to do that. He can be mad at his daughter for screwing up and tell her. Nobody is against it. What he did was to punish her and humiliate her. That was both unnecessary and cruel. She's an adult responsible for her own actions. She doesn't need other adults to punish her for actions whose consequences she's already suffered. I suspect some big sexism behind this odd paternalism. I doubt he'd do that with a son. These kind of posts are why I put that thing like, it's different for everyone because everyone's different. And it's hard because we've gotten all three. We've got not the a-hole, everyone sucks here, and you're the a-hole. And they all make really good points, and I don't really know which one to side with. I'm still feeling you're the a-hole at the end of the day. Alright, and I think that's where we're going to leave today's episode, guys. I really do hope you enjoyed the content today. If you guys loved watching it as much as I loved making it, I would love for you to subscribe to the channel already if you haven't. Tell me what you thought of it down in the comments below, maybe like the video, who knows. I'd also like to take this time to thank my awesome Patreon and channel members. Without you guys, I don't know what I'd do. I'd probably be homeless on the streets of Ireland, crying, Irish dancing all over town. It would just be a mess. But no, for real, you guys are up on the screen now. Thank each and every one of you guys. And if you personally want to join the club yourself, there are links down in the description below. There's also the join button next to the subscribe button. Small monthly fee, but hey, it goes a long way to help me create more awesome content. Well, with that said, guys, I hope you do have a lovely day, night, sleep, evening, day at work, day at school, whatever you're up to. I hope you keep awesome today. You're looking amazing, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.